In a futile attempt of clarity, I moved to number 1 on the mixer.
Yes.
I used to be number 1, and then it sounded fucked up for a while because it messed up. I don't know. Something wrong. Some gremlins in there.
Yeah.
So I moved to number 2. Well, guess what?
What?
I had to go back to number 2 because number 1 wasn't working right. So here we are. Caleb is at number 2 again. Spencer's at number 3.
Where you belong.
Nobody's on the number 1 channel, and that is fine. Anyway, more important news. You just got the proofs for your Campfire Tales Hellbound Books collection of anthology stories. I said that all out of order.
Yeah.
Your story Slaughter Patch is going to be featured in Hellbound Books Campfire Tales. It's an anthology of horror.
Yes.
They didn't give you a release date, which I found weird, but we're assuming it's going to be either end of the month or beginning of October because they have a extreme horror collection that I think drops. Also not a date for that, but I would imagine that would be their Halloween book.
Yeah.
Yours is their early October book, but that's probably for the best because that means people will be in the Halloween spirit as they read your book.
Yes. Versus
the extreme horror, which they would pick up and then probably not read for a while because November comes, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that stuff. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Your proofs were different from the ones I had. When I had it, I had a different editor, and they had a bunch of comments. Not on my story, but like on the stories, they would comment and you'd have to approve the changes they would want to make. I'm assuming this editor just went ahead and made the changes. Of course, your story could have just been so great that they maybe typos or something, but they didn't actually need to make suggestions.
Maybe he read it, the editor read it and was just like, this story seems like 2 people took like 30 hours to work. It's perfect.
It's great. I would like to think we didn't have any typos or anything. But who knows? With the story of any length, at some point, usually an editor will pick up just random things that you might have missed, like phrasing or something. But apparently they didn't put any comments for you to approve, so that's good. Hopefully you could just read it, say, that's fine, and then be done. Or they just got lazy and said, we don't want to edit these anymore. You edit them as the writer. But you already did many times.
Yes. So it will stand as is probably.
Yeah, so that's good. Also, I finished Pet Sematary. We talked about it last episode at the beginning. I think we did. I don't remember. I remember talking about it.
Yeah.
But I was just talking about like the writing style and I wasn't enjoying it. But after finally finishing the book, I have a brief review.
Okay.
That's my review.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah. I initially, I think I might even went with a 4 because I enjoy the story. But then on further reflection, I realized the overwriting just bogged it down too much for me. And I'll give an example. So there's like an Indian character. I think he's Indian in the book. Barely in the book. He's just like a throwaway character that he's a doctor and he like pops up randomly here and there. And Stephen King like randomly near the end when all the action and stuff's happening gives this guy a fucking, the guy's parents were in a war. Like some dumb shit. Like, why? A character that has nothing to do with the story, and you added all this stuff about him. And then there was like a scene in it when should be a very intense scene, right? Lewis is breaking into the cemetery to dig up Gage.
Yeah.
But then like Stephen King goes on like, I don't know, like a page-long description of like a couple walking down the street.
Okay.
And that would have added some suspense of him getting caught if you just mentioned him. But like he's going on about all this shit. Like nobody cares. Like so he did some fucking Dean Koontz shit where he's just talking and talking about stuff and shave off 150 pages of this book and you'd have a really good book probably.
But that'd probably take more like to a novella though, length, right?
It was like almost 400 pages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would still be a novel. But it's just like you go through this book thinking, oh, this is going to be exciting, and especially because I already know the story.
Well, I'm going to say, do you think that also being so familiar with this, with seeing so many different, because like the first movie came out when we were kids and stuff, and all the different different takes.
But what the movies mainly did was take all that shit out and just do the cool parts.
Okay.
So when I go into the book, I'm expecting the cool parts, and then realize, oh, most of these are like stretched out way too long, and it's just not, it's made to be not as important. For instance, like the scenes in the woods are really cool, but then the second time Lewis goes into the woods to bury Gage, all of a sudden you got so much fucking repetition. And it's not, okay, we could, like, for what, like, Judd told him, like, about the man, his heart's stony, whatever, and he tends his own land.
Yeah.
That's cool to, like, have that phrase come up again once or twice. There was, like, I think, multiple paragraphs where it just kept coming up. And it's like, okay, now you're fucking drilling into my head and it's fucking stupid. He did that a lot. He described things, different characters, backstories and shit that didn't need descriptions. And just overwritten. And that sucks because there's a very good story there. But regardless, I still liked it, but I would not read that again. Like I said, I'd be interested for you as an adult Spencer to go and read it and see what like you think. But yeah, not as enjoyable as I hoped. And I remember Salem's Lot was kind of like that, where I was like, there's a little bit too much here.
Yeah.
Good story, but then there's too much. But then like you have like The Shining. I remember thinking The Shining was just fine. You know, Carrie was, they were shorter, weren't they? I don't remember The Shining, but I know Carrie was shorter.
Carrie was on the shorter side, I do believe.
Some of the Bachman books I've read, again, maybe the Shorter King seems to be better, which might just lead some credence to the fact that he's a better short story writer than novelist.
Well, I'm gonna say that's why I've always liked his short story collections because I have always liked
like a Stephen King novella length seems to be his actual sweet spot.
Yeah.
Now that makes me worry. It's like, am I going to read it and it'll be like 1,200 pages of just like, why is this not 500 pages? Like, why the fuck is it? Because it has to be with all those kids. There's gonna be so much overwriting, I bet.
Well, also too, because you also have the flashbacks and stuff. Because you know, like, because in the book it's current and past. You know what I mean? It's not. They don't. You know what I mean? Like how like the movie just did like past first and then the present.
It'd be like the TV show.
Yeah,
the TV series they made. Yeah, so I'm not. I don't know. I might be a little burnt out on King now, but again, like The Long Walk was great. So,
you have read a couple this year already.
3, 4. What did I read? I read The Long Walk, Pet Sematary. Well, I guess the one was a story, Life of Chuck.
Yeah, and then the monkey.
Monkey's Paw.
Yeah.
Again, that was a short story.
Yeah.
The monkey, not the monkey.
The monkey.
Monkey's Paw is probably better.
And then was you going to try to read The Running Man before the movie comes out later?
Maybe. Like I said, this seems like the Bachman books have been more enjoyable.
I do like the Bachman books.
Was The Long Walk a Bachman book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe there is like some truth to the fact that he says he writes as Bach, but he writes as a different person when he writes those stories. Maybe he's a better paced writer.
Well, a lot of those were whenever he was younger, before Carrie, even before he made Carrie. So those are like very young, angry Stephen King.
Also not on drugs, probably.
Probably.
Or at least not as many drugs.
Probably just alcohol, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, we have an episode today due to some... I would say news we don't want to discuss on here just because the world's bleak enough. We decided to do a nice little language episode.
Yes.
Just a fun little episode about language and stuff. I'll give you, what is it, Spencer? What did I say? What was the words that came out of my mouth? 20 phrases that originated in the Middle Ages. And we'll riff on these and see if we even know of some of these. So that's the episode we'll do.
I feel that all of them are going to be heavy rotated in my vocabulary.
I hope so. I really do. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me today, Spencer, the Camelot Cum Collector Church.
Oh.
I was going to say connoisseur, but I've used connoisseur a few times.
Yes.
And that's probably grosser, actually. Well, what's grosser? Being a connoisseur of cum or just collecting the ejaculate?
Oh.
I didn't say how you're collecting it.
Yeah, I could just be giving them the thing.
I didn't say you're collecting it with your butt or mouth. I just said you're collecting it. Maybe you're like one of those inseminators.
Just how you just do it in the sack and give it to me.
You are impregnating, I'm saying that badly, but you're impregnating rare animals that are going to go extinct by collecting semen from their partners and injecting, inseminating.
In Camelot.
You're not impregnating with your man wiener. That would lead to a Stephen King story, maybe. Today, in Camelot, I could have probably did something that wasn't semen related, but why? Why not? 20 phrases that originated in the Middle Ages, Spencer. This is brought to our friends from the medievalist.net. I haven't been to the medievalist ever. Many of the phrases we casually toss around, they have history. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Let's just jump into it. Number 1, the apple of one's eye. What do you think that could possibly stem from? You're not going to get it.
Somebody taking somebody's apple?
In early medieval England, the pupil of the eye was known as the apple.
Oh.
Old English, epel. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's spelled with those. As much Greek as I fucking read. The A and E when they're connected into one letter. What the fuck is that called? You remember?
No.
Maybe I can highlight it with my fancy Google app. Epel. How do I look up just the E? The A-E. The symbol AE, pronounced like the A in cat, is in English a character that originated as a Latin ligature, not medieval. Well, I mean, kind of medieval, but not Greek is what I mean. Combination of the two letters for the diphthong AE, but has become an individual letter in languages like Norwegian, Danish, and Icelandic. Does it not have a name, though? It's just a ligature. So, yeah, it's pronounced just A. Or A. So, apple. Since it was thought to be an apple-shaped solid, the pupil of the eye. Solid. Ooh, yeah. Imagine if it was just hard in there. Since the delicate pupil of the eye is essential for vision, it is a part that is cherished and to be protected. Thus, apple of the eye was used as a figure for a much-loved person or thing. Even King Alfred the Great used this. King Alfred used it. I didn't know Ollie was using words like that. Number 2, you might get this one. Baker's dozen. What do you think that is?
The amount of the stuff that you like that's when you get like the extra one. Like that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, but why is there an extra one?
For the guy to eat, for the baker to eat.
I would say that's very possible or probable, but actually very good explanation. That could be it. I'm going to go with, I think it's something to do with scamming. So you got to pay the tax man his extra. That's what I'll say. I would have picked yours, but this phrase arose from a piece of medieval legislation. The Asses of Bread and Ale of 1262. Bakers of the period had a reputation for selling underweight loaves, so legislation was put in place to make standardized weights. To make sure that they did not sell underweight bread, bakers started to give an extra piece of bread away with every loaf and a 13 loaf with every dozen. So I was closest with the government stuff. Number 3, also back then they were using some gross stuff to make bread.
Oh,
like the stuff to whiten it and the guild that they had in place. Like they had laws prohibiting using certain things, but they were still using like whatever plaster would have been, like things to fluff it up.
Right.
So you weren't just getting good bread. Maybe if you're rich. Number 3, to curry favor. What do you think that has to do? I'm gonna go say it has to do with Indian nobility. So they weren't even India back then. What were they? Hindustan or something? Maybe even before Hindustan. But I will say to curry favor means that you use curry powder to spice up the royal delicacies to please the king, emperor, something.
I have no idea.
The phrase came from the Middle English words curry favel, which is old French. The French.
The French.
I would have never thought. Which in Old French was estriller favel. It meant to rub down or groom a chestnut horse. What? Okay. In La Roman de Fauvel, a 14th century French romance, a chestnut horse representing hypocrisy and deceit is carefully combed down by other characters in order to win his favor and assistance. The popularity of the work led people to accuse those who tried to further their own ends by flattery to be currying favelle. By the 16th century, the phrase had changed slightly to currying favor. At no point would I have thought it was dealing with a fucking horse. Okay, this might be a good one. To play devil's advocate. I'm going to go to Dante.
Yeah.
Something with Dante.
Maybe, yeah.
Or that time period. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because it just sucks because I know all what they stand for now, but trying to think of what they could possibly be standing for back then.
Their origin. Devil's advocate is a translation of the Latin Advocatus Diaboli. This was the popular title given to the official appointed by the Roman Catholic Church to argue against the proposed canonization of a saint by bringing up all that was unfavorable to the claim. The post, which was officially known as Promoter of the Faith, Promotor Fidei, seems to have been established by Pope Leo X, the 10, in the early
give it to you.
In the early 16th century. I saw a post today. It was on Facebook, so I didn't share it, but it was like one of those it put out in sentences. So it was like it was something about like me having trouble in solving for X, and then it says like Dad, X is gonna give it to you, and then the teacher is like, so this is why you're failing, something like that. So that's stupid. 5, to throw down the gauntlet.
Well, it seems like that the Devil's Advocate one has stayed pretty close to the what it actually kind of means.
Yeah. To throw down the gauntlet.
Probably would have to do with slapping somebody, maybe.
I'm going similar. I'm going with King Arthur times dueling or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe like knights would to establish their honor or defend their honor would throw down their heavy metal gauntlets and throw down either fisticuffs or slapping or something like that. Let's see. The gauntlet was a piece of armor that knights wore to protect their forearms and hands. A gauntlet-wearing knight would challenge a fellow knight or enemy to a duel by throwing one of his gauntlets on the ground.
Yeah.
So that was close. No slapping. But at some point it turned to slapping.
Yeah.
I think about like American dueling where like you slap with the glove.
Right, yeah.
6, by hook or by crook. I always assumed this was racist, but I don't know.
I just always assumed it was like, by any means necessary.
Yeah. You think pirates?
I mean, that would make sense.
Records of this phrase date back to the 14th century. One theory for its origin suggests that a medieval law about collecting firewood allowed peasants to take what they could only cut from dead trees by using their reaper's bill, hook, or a shepherd's crook. So whatever you can gather with those instruments that I know what a hook is.
Yeah.
I don't know what a crook is. 7, I never heard of this one. Hue and cry?
No. Yeah, I don't even know what that means now.
Yeah. This phrase dates back to 12th century England. Hue comes from the old French hue, H-U-E-R, which means to shout out. In the Middle Ages, if you saw a crime being committed, you were obliged to raise hue and cry. That is to shout and make noise to warn the rest of the community so they could come to pursue and capture the criminal. So a Good Samaritan's Act.
Snitch.
You snitch. Good Samaritan's Law, basically. Doesn't mean they're snitching. What if it's a bad crime? It's like yelling fire when there's a fire.
Yeah.
Or you're snitching. Quit running your mouth. This one's interesting. A nest egg.
Okay.
You've heard of a nest egg.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I got a nest egg. It means you got some money in the bank saved away for...
People used to have those.
Yeah, a rainy day or... Yeah, that's going to be obsolete here soon, if it isn't already. But yeah, rainy day funds or emergency funds, something like that. A nest egg, I would say, originates with keeping eggs in a nest until it's time to gather for food.
Maybe
they're just saving them. Maybe not actually in the nest, but like they took eggs from a nest and now they're saving them to use for later, like, storing them. By the 14th century, the phrase nest egg was used by peasants to explain why they left one egg in the nest when collecting them from hens. It would encourage the chickens to continue laying eggs in the same nest. By the 17th century, this phrase now meant to set aside a sum of money for the future. So more interesting, actually. It's actually just good smarts, Chickens are dumb. I think they're laying eggs regardless. I don't think you got to leave one. I never heard of this one, a red letter day.
No, I don't think I've heard of that one either.
I mean, this is medieval because normally I would say the scarlet letter,
the
deal, but obviously it's not that. So during the 15th century, it became customary to mark all feast days and saints' days in red on the ecclesiastical calendar, while other days were in black. I have nothing to add to that, but I would like to say you should cheer me for saying ecclesiastical in one smooth go. Because reading that is a word I don't think I ever read out loud. E-C-C-L-E-S-I-A. That's a word. But I am getting smarts.
You getting the brains.
I'm getting like a little bit less dumber than I used to be. To sink or swim.
Okay.
You think this is related to knights falling into a lake trying to get to the lady at the bottom?
Maybe,
that they wanted to fornicate with. And then there was no lady. There was only deep, murky doom. Is that your guess, too?
Yeah, sure.
All right. The phrase refers to the water ordeal, a medieval practice of judging whether a person was innocent or guilty by casting him or her into a lake. So that's what they did to witches.
Yeah.
The belief was that water would not accept anyone who had rejected the water of baptism. So if the victim sank, they were innocent, but if they floated, they were guilty. Did any of them ever float? Did anyone ever truly become guilty?
But also, like, if you sank, you die.
There was one fat guy back in the day, or some old lady with big knockers that floated to the top. At least the knockers did. And they're like, yep, she's a witch, and that's how they came up with that practice. Chaucer used a similar phrase. Fucking Chaucer. Before I read this phrase that I'm going to butcher, I just bought the Canterbury Tales.
Okay.
I ordered a copy online because I told you many times I've been looking for the Old English version. It says it's the Old English version, and I received it in the mail. Middle English, not Old English. Middle English version. It's written in the poem style.
Okay.
But the words I understand. It's not spelled in the Middle English, which is what I wanted, even though I probably won't be able to read it. So I could read this copy, and I probably will. But I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't able to acquire the Middle English one. I don't know why it's so hard to get. Because it's out there.
Maybe it's at like print or something.
No, I don't think so. I saw a couple that were like fucking $30, $40, but they always have like illustrations. I just want the fucking text. I guess I could just get a free PDF if I was really, hard up. Anyway, Chaucer used a similar phrase, you reckon not whether I float, or sink. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to read a whole thing that's ye reckon not whether I fiete. Here's a good one. In no man's land.
All right.
Now, I would have normally, before knowing that this is medieval, thought the origins were something to do with World War I and or II during the trench warfare, probably World War I, trench warfare, where the space between the opposing armies was no man's land.
Right.
But I guess that would go back to old times when they were sword fighting, but in the middle.
Or even with because they had arrows and stuff, too, so you would have that space still.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming this is going to be is back then. Many might think this phrase dates back to the First World War. I'm a smart guy. But I'm going to say that all episode. But its origins are actually from the 11th century. In the Doomsday Book, I want that book now. There is a place in England
Whatever it is.
I want the Doomsday Book. There is a place in England that is referred to as No Man's Land. So I'm one solid name there. Perhaps it was an abandoned settlement. Then the phrase can be seen again in the 14th century. It was used by Londoners to refer to a spot just north of the city walls where executions were held. So different, much different, actually. Number 12, all that glitters is not gold. I thought this was just Tolkien.
Yeah.
So if this is not Tolkien, I am disappointed. But he was a medievalist to speak of. He
stole it.
He borrowed. So what would you think that means? All that glitters is not gold. Maybe I'm going to go hardcore and say either the executioner's blade or just like a sword or something.
Is it like a sharp?
Well, you see it shining in the light, but it's not gold.
Yeah.
It sparkles, but it means death, not riches. This phrase, meaning that appearance can be deceiving, has a rich history. Rich. Its earliest known usage comes from the 12th century when, the French, when French theologian Alain de Lilly wrote, "Do not hold everything gold that shines like gold." Geoffrey Chaucer later echoed the sentiment in his 14th century work, The House of Fame, with the line, "Yet is not all gold that glareth." So that's what he said.
Oh, wow.
That's what he said.
You don't have a translation for that?
I'm going to say not all that is gold. It's glitter. The glitter. Fucking asshole. Got to spell it all fucked up. What is HYT? Hit, hot, height, hit, hoot. Hot. 13, stark raving mad.
Okay.
Unless it has to deal with being stark naked, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. This expression, used to describe someone who is completely and uncontrollably insane, has its roots in medieval England. The word stark comes from an Old English word meaning stiff or strong, so you're just fucking people up on PCP, I'm thinking. Medieval PCP. Spelled funny. And was commonly used in the Middle Ages to intensify descriptions. The term stark mad emerges by the 14th century. Meanwhile, the word raving originates from the Latin rabitus, I like that better, meaning to be mad or to rave. It was also used as an adjective to emphasize a noun, so it would eventually become incorporated into the phrase. Some of these don't do a good job of actually explaining what they meant.
Yeah.
But I started watching the new season because I've been wanting to watch something witchy or, in the mood for fall coming.
Spooky.
So I started watching the second season of Wednesday. And
I didn't even know you watched the first season.
I did. I was bored. It was okay. And then I started watching it, and she has a novel she wrote.
Okay.
And she sent it to a publisher, and she has all these edits, and she's real mad about it. But one of the things that came up was the girl was looking at it, and she said, well, this one's just a typo. And she says, no, it's not. That is the archaic origin of the word dismemberment. And I was like, I'm going to start using more archaic spellings of things and just fuck with people. Just like one per story. Well, if the story's fitting.
Yeah. So did she have the weird head filler before or after that season?
She looks normal in this, so it had to be after. You mean like her head looks dead?
Yeah.
Which actually probably would have been more fitting for the character. 14, more Irish than the Irish themselves. I don't know, but that sounds racist to me.
That's what I was thinking.
Drunk?
No, that probably, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's it. This expression dates back to medieval Ireland and was used to describe Norman settlers who embraced Irish customs, language, and traditions more enthusiastically than the native Irish. These Normans, so basically the original weebs, it's like they went, the Irish version. It's like how you get the fucking white kids going to Japan and then they embrace the culture more than Japanese people who live it every day because they're like, some of this shit's dumb.
Yeah.
So like the Normans, which were just the asshole French again, went to Ireland and was just like, we're more Irish than you because we like this shit more than you do. Because maybe France sucked even worse. So these Normans who arrived in Ireland in the 12th century integrated so deeply into Irish life that it worried the English authorities, prompting laws like the Statutes of Kilkenny in 1366 to try to maintain English identity. It's a phrase that highlights how invaders can sometimes adopt the culture they encounter so thoroughly that they outdo the locals themselves. I think it's funny that like Kilkenny and stuff is that fucking old. Whereas in the U.S., we're just like, just a bunch of trees back then. Like, the Native Americans lived here, but we didn't have any kind of history that dates back that far, let alone the ones that are thousands of years. 15, blood is thicker than water. Anything?
No.
You know what's thicker than blood?
What?
The thing you collect.
Oh.
The stuff that you collect.
It depends on the...
Sometimes it's watery.
Yeah.
The phrase is often interpreted to mean that family bonds are stronger than other relationships, but its origins suggest a different meaning. Uh-oh. A 13th century story includes the line, This is German? What is this? A 13th century story includes the line, Ouch hohe Ischagen, das sippe Blut von Wasser wird vergebet, which translates to, just say the translation, which translates to, I also hear it said that kin blood is not spoiled by water. It has been suggested that this implies family ties are more important than religious affiliations, with water symbolizing baptism. So very similar. If you could pronounce Das Sippe Bluet von... I'm saying this one might be French. I think it's German. It sounds German to me. Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't rouse the wild dogs or they'll attack Mike in the woods.
Yeah.
No one will get that except for Mike. This phrase, meaning to avoid stirring up trouble or inferring it in a situation that is calm, has roots in medieval England, appears in Geoffrey Chaucer's Troilus and Cresside, where he writes, It is not good a sleeping... I hate the fucking old English. It is not good a sleeping hound to wake. There is even... It's just like you're missing... Like, why is sleeping just one E, one P?
Really?
It's dumb. Well, I guess it would be one P, but like one E. Just have two E's. There is even an earlier French version of this expression, which translates as, Wake not the sleeping dog. So, great. 17, bed of roses. I'm thinking people in the Roman times were fucking on roses.
Yeah.
Or maybe they stuffed their mattress full of roses because rose petals were so aplenty. Or maybe to torture someone, they threw them on a bed of thorny rose bushes.
Yeah, like in a rose garden or something.
Yeah. One of the most popular pieces of medieval literature is Le Roman de la Rose, in which one section a character recounts a dream of touring a garden and finding a beautiful bed of roses by the fountain of love. The phrase, which later came to represent an easy or pleasant life, owes much of the rich imagery and associations with love and desire found in this iconic text. So no. Tom, Dick, and Harry. I'm interested in this one because, like...
that one I wouldn't have thought to be during that time period.
Thomas, Richard, and Harold. Yeah. That's what I would think. That's probably some stupid English shit. This phrase is used to describe ordinary or generic people, often implying anyone and everyone. Its origin dates back to medieval Italy. Did not think Italy.
Wow, yeah.
Where the term in Latin originally was Titius et Guius et Sempronius. This phrase would get changed in other languages too, you don't say. Becoming in Italian Tizio, Charles in Sempronio, and in French Pierre, Paul, or Jacques. I don't know if I like it.
No.
So same meaning, they just, whatever country your name. So I guess in like fucking Japan, it would be Kosuke, other two names. Russian, Ivan, and Ivan. Ivan, and Igor. Ivan, Giorgio, and Georgia.
I was trying to think of what the guy in the Rockies' name was. It was Ivan, wasn't it?
Ivan Drago. One bad apple spoils the whole barrel. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
I would think so, yeah.
I would imagine if you're collecting apples, one rotten apple will spread the rot to the other apples, or if it's in winemaking, not winemaking, I guess it'd be cider making, one rotten apple might ruin the you get it. This phrase, meaning that one negative influence can ruin the whole, or originates from the literal observation that one rotten apple can spoil. Yeah, we get it. Geoffrey Chaucer again. He hinted at this idea in the Canterbury Tales, particularly in the Cook's Tale, where he wrote about how bad companions can corrupt good ones. Here is how he writes it, you fucking cock. So here's how Geoffrey Chaucer, not Tosser, but I would say he's a tosser. I'm trying to think. What's the shitty American equivalent to tosser?
No.
Just fuckwit.
Oh.
No, I don't know. You know, because that's a slang.
Yeah.
That's a slur or a swear. You know, I like English swears because they're not swears here, so you can say call somebody a tosser. Anyway, I'm just holding off on wanting to read this. I'm gonna try to do this as normal as it comes. Upon a proverb that seeth this same word, better use rotten a pole out of an herd than for to let him rot out the remanent. And right so it fareth by a riot servant. There's lots of letters that shouldn't be in there.
Good job.
There's lots of Y's.
So many Y's.
Lots of Y's and extra P's. In my mind's eye, Spencer. Think it has to do with the apple again? I don't know. In my mind's eye.
I mean, I just like trying to imagine things, but back then I couldn't.
Maybe they thought that the spirit was in the eye?
Maybe.
Or something? I don't know. The eyes are the window of the soul kind of thing? The phrase, meaning to envision something in one's imagination, goes back to the late 12th century when Joachim of Flora wrote in Expositio in Apocalypticism, exposition of the book of Revelation, this line, I suddenly perceived in my mind's eye something of the fullness of this book and of the entire harmony of the Old and New Testaments. Chaucer, fuckhead, also made use of, I'm not reading Chaucer now. Chaucer also made use of the phrase in the Man of Law's tale. He writes, it were with thilk even has a Y to replace the V. So maybe they didn't have V's back then. It were with thilk even of his mind, why, I don't know, mind, I guess. With which men seen after that they've been blind. It seems Y replaces I in a lot of that text. These 20 phrases remind us how deeply the Middle Ages shaped the language we use every day, from Chaucer's poetry to medieval law codes, from allegorical horses to Norman Ireland. The origins of these expressions reveal a bunch of shit. Okay, that's it. That wasn't that interesting. I don't like it. That was dumb. I don't like medieval bullshit. Fuck you. Fuck you, Spencer.
It was weird to see which ones were actually pretty much the same from.
Haven't changed yet.
Yeah.
I would like to do Middle English and have like a Shakespeare, like the shit Shakespeare's come up with.
Oh, yeah.
Like to see like all the phrases that originated from Shakespeare and was not in existence before him.
Can you imagine coming up with new words?
I can right now. Give me a fucking letter. I'll come up with a brand new word.
V.
Valch. You throwed it, and it's probably a word somewhere. Folks, that was an episode. If you want to check out our work, you could go to @DPW Podcast on the internet. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Spencer, he is collecting cum in Camelot. He went back in time for this one.
Yeah.
That's his OnlyFans. I don't really. I'm just assuming you're dressed in a Renaissance fair and collecting seminal fluid. CalebJamesK.com. That is my website. You can check me on the internet. I got publication news sometimes. Thank you for listening. We'll check you out next week.